Right. Now we need to know about recruiting. Because recruiting is important, right? That's our inventory. And you're all good looking, don't get me wrong, but I want to see some new faces, you know what I'm saying? So let's bring them up. The mastermind of recruiting, Aristide Abrams.
Alrighty. How's everybody feeling? Look to your right. Give him a high five and say, "You're looking beautiful today." Hey, how about Richard doing his first time? How do you do? He's doing good, right? I love it. So, my job today is to talk about the recruiting mindset. You guys ready?
Ready.
Great. I love it.
Wait, can
So-
you smile, please?
So, when do you recruit?
Always.
Oh, I love you. When do you recruit?
Always.
All the time.
Always. In one shot. Give her a big hand, guys. So don't waste your time and energy on recruiting in the wrong moments or with the wrong people. What do I mean with that? When we talked about this, when you sit in front of someone, qualify them. Make sure you're asking the right questions, etc. Because if you follow the process that we teach, guess what? It'll work for you. Today, I'm going to hone in on just one part and recruit across the kitchen table. Because that's where a lot of people would need some help. So who would like to know how to recruit better at the kitchen table? Look at all those hands go up. So I picked a good topic. All right. So the goal at the kitchen table, be it just in the initial kitchen table presentation that you have with a couple, when you sit down with them, and when you sit down the second time with them during the financial needs analysis, the goal for you is to find the shortfall. Who knows what I mean when I talk about the shortfall? Just a couple people, so let me spend some time on that. So you run your regular kitchen table and financial needs analysis, but if you're doing it the right way, what you're going to be doing, you're going to be observing them and ask the right questions and set yourself up for referrals. And the shortfall comes from this process. Don't just sell, I can help you with life insurance, but actually find the shortfall. The shortfall is the nightmare, and it goes something like this in real life. Hey, we just found out that you guys have big goals and dreams, and to make that happen for yourself, retire 5 years sooner. That's what you guys want, right? And they'll say yes. And retire with twice as much. That's what you guys want. And they'll say yes. Hey, you guys are about $2,500 a month short. The shortfall. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's the other way around. You say, well, we have plenty of money, but then you find out the shortfall is what? Time. They don't have time. They want more time in their lives. So, 90% of the time, clients will have a money shortfall. And the rest has a time shortfall. It's always one or the other. And you have to be ready for both. Now, what does this have to do with referrals? Because I'm going to tie in what you said a little bit, right? If you set yourself up right and you ask the right question and you expose their nightmare, their shortfall, you can say, do you think you guys are the only couple that this happens to? And then they'll start thinking. And if you ask it right, you can ask your follow-up question and say, hey, who comes to mind when you guys start nodding? And I slide my referral page right in front of them. So let's spin this for a second. And I'm going to come back to it, okay? Get referrals. So during your kitchen table, it sounds like I'm repeating the same thing, but I'm saying a different thing right now, okay? Ask for referrals. Observe and ask again the right question. And this is a question-answer game. Everything you do at the kitchen table is a question-answer game. And if you get good at that game, I think it's a game, you will actually get great results. So you ask questions like this. Do you see that what we do is good for people? And you nod your head. And guess what? They'll say, what do they say?
Yeah.
Yes, great. So if I can help a few people, with these things, who comes to mind? And again, I ask them to tell me those names, and I jot them right down, or I have them jot it down. Works better if they jot it down. Expect referrals. So this is where most of us miss out on this part. We don't expect the referrals. Maybe they don't want to give them. I expect referrals, and because I expect referrals, I get the referrals. Like I said, it's a mindset. The more referrals you get, the better the odds that you can recruit them. Now, who wants to recruit at the kitchen table? Because that's where I started, right? So I said I'm going to pin it. I'm going to come back to it. So the better you get at getting referrals right there, the better the odds that you recruit them. I'm going to tie that down in a minute. So what do? I put it in front of them during the initial kitchen table, and I do it again when I sit down with them during the financial needs analysis. So I have 2 referral hits, right? You double your options. I'm going to pin this one too. So I have 2 pins going, right? So what type of referral do you get at your kitchen table when you sit down with a typical couple? What do they give you?
They're friends. Yeah.
Warm market kitchen table referrals, right? They're thinking of somebody who's in the same boat, who either is in debt and they need to get out of debt, or they think of other couples who want to retire with much more sooner. You get those type of referrals. How often does it happen to you that you get recruit appointments out of it? Would you agree with me that that almost never happens?
Right.
Can I show you guys a trick to make that always happen?
Yeah.
Okay, I need a volunteer couple for this one. I'm going to ask, where's Jonathan? He's not here.
So sorry.
Right here. You guys stand right there.
I volunteered.
You guys, she volunteered, he was voluntold. All right, so stand next to each other right there. That's perfect. I'm going to do one thing for them, and I'm going to come right back to you. So when you sit down, is it possible for you to bring a blank sheet of paper with you?
Yes.
You think we can handle that?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Only a couple of people say yes.
Yes.
Are you guys sure?
Yes.
All right. Do you think you can bring a couple of pens along with you?
Yes.
Yes.
We can handle that too, right? All right. Do you think you can actually take that piece of paper and tear it in two? A little bit nicer than I did. There it is, right? So you hand, and I do this right at the very end, right before I leave. I say, before I go, I do the just like Columbo would do it, right? Before I go, do you mind if I ask you one more thing, Mr. and Mrs. Client? I hand them both a pen. Oh, you guys have a pen now. So listen, before I go, I want to ask you one last quick favor, all right? I am going to ask you this. I'm going to call out a profession, and then you guys are going to just first names. Don't worry about the rest. Just first names. Write down who comes to mind. All right? Now, no peeking. And I don't know why it is, but somehow the woman always wins in this one. So would you please win for me tonight? Can you do that? All right? So first names, I'm going to call the profession, give you a small description, and then you jot down who comes to mind. No stealing, no peeking. All right? Ready? I want to know, who do you know that's great in sales? But before you write anything down, not just a car salesman, or I'm looking for people who are used to working with their clients for a longer period of time, like realtors, interior designers, people like that. They're used to having a long sales track. Who comes to mind? Just one? You guys can write down more. Right.
Okay.
All right. Somebody's got to win. If she writes one and you write one, we're going to lose, buddy. We can do that.
I'm gonna take her pen though.
No, my wife says that women always win anyway. So I don't know how she does that, but
Their minds work fast.
well, all right. So the next profession that comes to mind for me is a teacher.
Teacher.
Now, how does a teacher come to mind? Now, when you think of a teacher, we all know a high school teacher or But he's already writing down, you're cheating, man. We got to win the right way. I don't want her to say we're cheating. So, a teacher is someone in church who's in the ministries, baseball coaches, for your kids, all those type of people. Can you go? And I go through this process for all 5. I steam them right there and there. Now, just between these 2 professions, and we have the other 3 to go, right? I'm not going to do all 3. How many names do you have, buddy?
7.
7. And you?
7.
Give them both a big hand. Now, do you guys, thank you guys, I appreciate it. Do you guys see what happens? They're both writing a lot of names down, right? In the end, I have them look at it and cross out whoever is double, and then I ask them for their names and numbers. So now, I have more names and numbers. And these names and numbers are for people who are recruitable. So I have KT referrals from them and recruit referrals from them. All in one shot. Now, I pinned this one as well. So now we're going to go to my pins. I said the more referrals you get, the better odds are that you will recruit them. Now, why do I make that statement? You figure their shortfall out, right? You know, they need about $2,500, as in my example. They gave you kitchen table referrals, and they gave you recruit referrals. And then you ask them what I call then my magic question in the end, and say, listen, I appreciate all these referrals. I would love to follow up with these people, but you know what? I can treat this in 2 different ways. I can either go and I'll make good income, and I appreciate the referrals, or I could actually teach you how we can address that shortfall of $2,500 a month. We already have what I would call then a training list. What would you guys rather have? Me going out or me teaching you how you can have some income as well? You see what happens in their mindset right there? 8 out of 10 recruit because of this. Because you show them that with you just asking for referrals and playing the game, that they have enough names and numbers come to mind right there. And they understand that if I do this with the next couple, we'll have enough names and numbers to continue their business. All right? So recruit. If you recruit at a kitchen table, you have people that are motivated. You will have people that have a good list. You got a great kickoff for them right there and then. Would you guys agree with that? And the other thing that you really have to believe in this, guys. This is, and I thank you for this one. You have the cookie. Right? You have what they want. You really have to believe it. And if you ask the right way and guide them the right way through that process, all you're looking for is the cookie monster. They'll say, cool story, bro, but just give me that cookie, right? You want to really find the people who are that hungry that will eat all the cookies that you put in front of them. And that's what happens in that process. You guys, you think you can bring a piece of paper along with you? A couple pens? And play the game? The women always win. I still don't know why that is, but it always works. So remember, the struggle is real. We need more agents. So go out and recruit. And I'll see you guys at the top.